This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to dunk. This is Lee Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
I'm Josh Giddy, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, this is Kenny Hustle, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Darius Baisley, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Poku, and I'm down to dunk.
I love cereal. Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cracklin Oat Bran.
Oh, I can have these? I'm going to share with my team, but I'm a hog most.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Barron. Michele, what's up?
Well, it's a great day. I was supposed to go to Venice over the weekend, and I didn't. But hey, this is life coming at you.
Yeah, that is life with children and everything else baked in. I
Exactly.
can definitely relate to that.
Speaking of baking, do you eat what is called in Italy the Easter dove?
Easter dove?
Yes.
What does that mean?
You know the flying bird?
I do know the flying bird, the dove.
Okay.
Yes, you eat the dove?
No, not really. We eat basically a bread, a sweet bread with a lot of stuff in. We eat it at Christmas and at Easter. And when we do it for Easter, it's basically the same as panettone, if you ever heard about it. It's a traditional Italian dessert. And it's basically the shape of a dove.
So what's in it?
So it's usually it's this big bread with eggs, a lot of sugar, butter, and orange flavor, and there is raisins, I think. How do you call the grapes that are dried and sweet?
Yeah, raisins. Yeah.
Okay. And then the cover is sugar and almonds. And it's something that you don't do with the traditional baking soda or stuff like that. You use basically the bread yeast, and you let it grow for like 2.5-3 days. It's the whole process. Yes.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it is.
Never had it. Sounds delightful, though.
It is. It is. I mean, I guess that you can find it there, but it's probably something very Italian, like a place that is actually Italian.
Yeah.
Because it's
we don't have very many of those here. They're not making that at the Olive Garden. I'll tell you that.
No, it's a headache to do. I tried for Christmas and it looked perfect. Yeah. But my yeast went a little bit too sour, and I took it and threw it away.
Oh no. Well, the NBA draft lottery is less than a month away. We are going to have an event. We also have more very exciting news coming soon from Down to Dunk to the Oklahoma City community. So be on watch for that as well. And we will start advertising that the event and the place soon. You can plan for May 17th at around 6 o'clock. And we will announce the location soon. Still finalizing details. Hopefully that gets done in the next couple days. So to prepare for the draft, I thought we would take a look back at some past drafts. And we're going to start doing redrafts every Monday. We're going to start with the 2021 draft and kind of work our way back. Just take a look and see what these draft classes have done, how strong they are. We're just going to do the lottery, and so how quickly do we run out of names that we like? I think is an interesting exercise. And then, who are the sleepers and why were they? Why were they underrated? What was the reason that this type of player fell? And then maybe, use those kind of trends to look at this upcoming draft as to maybe some players that are being picked too low. However, that's not always the best way to do it, but we're going to try anyways. So we're going to go back and forth all the way through the lottery, and I'm going to let Michele go first in the 2021 NBA redraft here on Down to Dunk, who is going number 1. And we're going to pick for the specific teams, I think is an interesting part of the exercise, because you can go back and say, hey, this team should have done this, or wow, the player that they took is gone. Now where should they pivot? So that's how we're going to handle it. So the Detroit Pistons are up at number 1.
I think that the Detroit Pistons did perfectly fine, and I would do the same thing that they did. I think that as of today, even if Cade didn't have the best rookie season among the top 5 picks, he is still the most likely to be the franchise player. I mean, a lot of stuff translated for Cade, and until he has good players around continuously in a consistent way, there is very little that I can say to move him from the number 1 spot. Yes, Mobley makes a good case, a great case, but ultimately, I think I would go Cade again.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's actually who I have number 1 on my board too. Number 2, the Houston Rockets. They selected Jalen Green, number 2. I'm going Evan Mobley, number 2 to the Houston Rockets. He's extremely versatile big man, and Sengun may or may not be available at 16 for them in a trade. And honestly, who cares? Because if you have the chance to choose Evan Mobley, you don't think about Alfred Sengun one bit.
And it doesn't. Again, a guy like Mobley doesn't put you in a position where, if you like another big man, that is maybe a bit different from him, and Sengun is quite different from him. I think that you can successfully run stuff for Mobley and Sengun together. So even if they really like him, Sengun, I mean, there is no stopping in drafting Mobley.
True. Yeah, I don't disagree. Cleveland is up. They're highly disappointed that their beloved Evan Mobley is gone. I think I know which direction you'll take this, but who you got at number 3?
It's very simple. I would not pick Jalen Green here because I think that they are guard heavy, and I don't have Green number 3 on my board. The guy I have on my board at number 3 fits Cleveland to a T. I mean, Mobley is better, but Scotty Barnes is exactly what they should do here, because they already have a very good guard. They need a guy with versatility, defensive upside, and I mean, Mobley gives them a little bit more than Scotty to me. But Scotty is the rookie of the year. He's perfect. He can play 3 roles for them with ease. He can play a little bit of center, a little bit of 4. He can play with Love, with Jared Allen. Yes, the shooting is not great. Yeah, to play with Allen, it's not an easy task, but you worry about that later, and you just pick the best player there. And it's also a player that, again, can add a layer to what you do.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. I think those are the easiest picks in the top 3. And now it gets...
and Andrew, can I stop you for a second here? I mean, to me, this draft is very uncommon, because I would say, and maybe you disagree, but 7 guys in the top 8, we will probably pick them there. Or probably 8 out of 8. I don't know if your board is similar to mine, but this draft was incredibly top heavy, and teams have done a great job in finding who those guys were.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. The Raptors are such an interesting team from here, because they don't scream select Josh Giddey at this spot. He does not. He's not a Raptor. He doesn't have great length. He doesn't have great athleticism. He doesn't quite fit this crew. They have ball handling. They have creators, and I think that they're looking for somebody to fit in. Scotty Barnes kind of fit in to what they did, and to me, the guy that would fit in the best to this team that's athletic, that can score, that can do a lot of things that they want, and is a really smart basketball player is Franz Wagner. So as a fit for Toronto I think he's an upside play too. Like Franz Wagner's not an old player. You know, he's not as young as Josh. I like Kuminga for them too. I considered him there as well. I worry. He's not ready. Like he's just not ready to play for the Raptors this season. And the Raptors are a good basketball team, and I think Wagner is probably the guy that fits them the best from here.
Wow. Okay.
What?
Okay. Good.
Is there something wrong with that?
No. To me, drafting. Okay. No, I like it. I didn't expect this.
Yeah. What did you expect?
It's just to go the guy with the most upside.
Yeah.
And which is what the Magic will do. I don't see, even if to me as of today, I don't think the margin between Jalen Green, Franz Wagner, and Josh Giddey is wide. I don't think it is with Scotty either, to be honest with you. Those four guys, to me, are probably in the same tier.
I think so too. I just think Giddy is a more specific fit than Wagner is. Wagner is like.
No, I thought you went with Green for them. I thought that Jalen Green could be your pick there.
Yeah, they've got guys like I don't know. I like Wagner's fit in Toronto more than Green's fit in Toronto.
That's anywhere. Franz Wagner is a great fit with any team.
He's a great fit with any team. Yes, especially a team like I think Toronto just wants to remain competitive. Green's not a guy to me that's gonna help you remain competitive. If you're willing to take a step back, sure. Green's going to make you take a step back, but he could help you take a massive step forward in 3 years. Wagner's like take a step forward now and also possibly take a step forward later too kind of player.
Yeah. Yes, I don't disagree with that. So again, here, I don't think that the margin between the players is wide between Jalen Green and Josh Giddey. Yeah. I think that the Magic here, they had a chance to draft Giddey, and they didn't. Yeah. They picked Suggs. Suggs is not my pick, of course. Yeah. I think that they would go, if they had to redraft, and they are in this spot, they would go Jalen Green. I'm tempted to pick Giddy already here. Mm-hmm. But the Magic would never, ever do so. I think that there is also a world in which Jalen Green is the right pick here. Because Green, he shot better than Cade from three. Mm-hmm. He scored a bunch. He was in an extremely dysfunctional environment for most of the season, and yet he was able to be second in scoring and showed glimpses of a great scorer. So
yeah, it's the kind of star power that they don't have in Orlando too. Like they need a go-to guy. Yeah. And you could also argue that they need somebody to organize the pieces that they have, where you could go with Josh, where it's like they don't like they've got all these pieces. However, how do they organize them? Do they organize them with a player like Jalen Green, where it's like you develop this hierarchy where it's like I am definitely the guy and you're going to screen for me and you're going to rebound? Or is it like Josh slides in and he's like, okay, I'm going to make sure that everybody gets in the right spots and I'm going to pass you into the right spots. You know, like those are, it's a difficult question to answer. But I kind of think Green fits Orlando a little bit better because the Cole Anthony experience has not been what you hope it would be, even though he was better this year. But like, if you could upgrade that spot and not have Cole be that guy, like let Cole be your sixth man, more sense.
Yeah, and I think that if you are, or like again, to me today, if you ask third general manager who has the higher upside between Jalen Green and Giddy, probably 23 of those will say Jalen Green.
Yeah.
And so if you're Orlando, you have to do that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't completely disagree with that. Number 6, we're with the Thunder. Josh doesn't fall below this. He is their guy. He is still their guy. I thought Josh would go higher in our mock draft whenever I said we were going to do this when we did the redraft. I thought Giddy would go higher. But this class is stacked, especially at the top. And trying to find the spot for him, like I could have argued, you can make the argument as high as 4 with him.
Yes.
And like he enters the consciousness of 4, 5, and 6. I don't know how much he entered the consciousness of 4, 5, and 6 on the day of the draft. He certainly does today. And, it is what it is, that this class is just very, very good at the top. And Giddy fits. Obviously, we know how Giddy fits with the Thunder, and we know how much. We don't have to back this up in any way whatsoever. And the top, Franz Wagner slides up, and Jalen Suggs slides back. But this is, to me, these are the right 6 players to go in the top 6.
Yeah. Number 7, I think that I would stay where Golden State picked, because I think that first Kuminga is 7th on my board. I think he is better than what I thought. I think he's good in a very specific team, which can maximize his finishing ability, whereas in other teams he might just don't play. Maybe this is a stretch, but if you have Book Knight on Golden State, I don't think that he is dramatically different than what Moses Moody and Kuminga have been in terms of maybe a little bit less than Kuminga in terms of playing time. Yeah. But the environment is really important. What you do, and Golden State is a special place. So again, no explanation needed. Kuminga is, I think, the 7th best player in this class, and is exactly. And Golden State can make wonders with play finishers.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's absolutely right. This is where it gets interesting, because now there's like less definitive upside at 8. I've been a Jalen Suggs believer for a long time, and still don't think that I don't think that he should have gone as high as I said he should have. However, I'm still going to take him for the Magic. They get him just at a different slot. I think that they're actually elated that they get both Jalen's in this draft, just in a different way. So I've got Suggs at 8 for Orlando, and you just try to develop him. He's actually a pretty nice fit next to Jalen Green. Because he's going to distribute. He's going to defend, and you just hope that the shot will eventually come around. So I'll take Suggs at 8.
All right, number 9. This is where I deviate from Sacramento quite badly. I don't have Davion Mitchell as high on my board. This is not the place where I go Herb Jones either, even if he's creeping close to the top 10 to me on my board. I think that there is a player that is playing well and has tremendous upside. We knew it before the draft. We slotted around number 20, 25 on our discussion. I'm talking about Zaire Williams. He is upside. And if I'm redrafting and I know what happened, I think that this is a place where I pick him, because he's not too high, I think. He's an upside play, close to what the Spurs did with Josh Primo. It's just a place above his draft stock, and I think that he deserved that. He is, I mean, to me, picking him at 10 was a reach back then, and now I'm saying maybe not. Maybe this was actually the right spot for him, and too bad it's in Sacramento because I mean it's not a place where I would send a guy to develop, and maybe this is something that should stop me a bit because if I think about the player that may thrive in Sacramento, it's not him. But not even guys like Herb Jones, which I have in this range, nor Josh Primo, which is in this range for me. And I don't want to send there Alperen Sengun either, because he would be the next Papagiannis. So it's hard to send the guy there. Probably the only guy who would make a career is Davion Mitchell, but to me the talent is different. And so this is on my board. I have Zaire at 9, and I think this is where I would pick him.
Wow. That is really interesting. I did not see that coming.
No?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay.
10.
Is this bad?
No. I think Zaire's really interesting. It's very young. Great size for a wing if he fills out in the right way and can, get his shot going a little bit better. Like, he's a very, very good player. Memphis at 10 is in an interesting position because you can make the case for Josh Primo even higher, honestly, because he has shown a lot of potential. And that's kind of what they did at 10 anyways. They swung for the fences. You could go like more of a sure thing with Chris Duarte. He's 24 the day of the draft. Holy smokes. I'm not doing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Trey Murphy the third.
All right.
To the Grizzlies. He would be so excellent with this team. If you don't get the high upside of Zaire, I like just having a guy that can space the floor for this team. You can make the Herb Jones case here as well. He's like the hot name right now for this class. However, 3-point shooting is just so important, and it's really important to this particular team. And I mean, just imagine him stepping in with any of these lineups, because he plays a lot right now for the Pelicans, and he's an extremely helpful, just knockdown shooter who was named perfectly by his parents. Just an unbelievable name, Trey Murphy III. Just so many threes in his name to begin with, and he's going to be a guy that's going to take and make a ton of threes.
Yeah.
And if I'm Memphis and I can you just get a guaranteed 6'9", like 3-4, that is going to be a knockdown shooter, like give me that. Give me that right now. And he's going to contribute right away. And, they've got Zaire contributing right away, but like Trey he's ready and he's contributing to a good team. And, I think that makes the Grizzlies even more dangerous to me right away.
Yeah, this is probably where I would probably pick Primo here.
Yeah.
But I understand it. I'm a fan of Trey Murphy, even if he didn't put up numbers. It's still like top 16 on my board.
Yeah.
I like what you did. So I don't have this is number 11. I don't have Alperen Sengun at 11 on my board. It's a bit later. I have remaining on my board. I have Primo at 11 and Herb Jones at 10. But I think that if Charlotte needs to draft Sengun here, both for the fact that they actually have playing time to develop him, and because they have an amazing passer in LaMelo Ball. They have a good wing in Miles Bridges. So I really think that here, the difference in upside between many of the players that are around here, it's minimal. Like, you can argue that guys like Trey Mann and Bones Hyland will be better players than Herb Jones in the next 5 years. And you can put Sengun in the same class. Another option is to go Davion Mitchell, but I don't have him as high.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have guards there. Even Herb Jones. I mean, they have guys that are not like multi-skilled and that can defend a bit. I know the defense is something that they really need, and Sengun doesn't solve that. But they also lack talent. And they lack talent at the center position. And so to me, just try. Let's see how it goes. And I would probably pick Sengun here. Again, mostly for the fact that he could play 30 and just develop into the best version of himself, or a terrible version of himself, which will be Vucevic-like on defense and not Vucevic-like on offense.
Yeah.
That is also a possibility. What is your take here?
Oh my goodness! At 12 with the Spurs.
I mean, what do you like in?
What do I think of Sengun there?
For Charlotte,
I think that it's kind of crazy, honestly. Because Charlotte's problem is their defense. Like their defense, like super sucks. And
you don't draft defense this high.
I feel like this is a good Herb landing spot.
Oh, okay.
Herb would have helped them a lot this year. However, if you're Charlotte, I just make you could make the case that Sengun is good for them because he helps them take a step back and they don't make the play in. They're in the lottery.
Yeah.
Which is probably the right place for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not like Book Knight didn't do anything for them this year. I mean, he just didn't even play.
Yeah, that's the point.
I don't hate it. I don't hate the pick for them. They just have, how do you figure out the defense long term with that group? I think is a tough question to answer.
Yeah, my counter to that is take the two best players for OKC. Those are not good defenders.
Yeah.
And they had a great defense compared to the talent that they have.
Yeah.
So to me, you don't either. You get an incredible guy that plays both offense and defense in the top 10, like this year, Chet, Jabari, guys like that who can play both ends, and then great. But if you don't, then like to me, picking a guy like Herb Jones that you can probably get paying a lot.
Yeah.
Like they just can overpay for Lou Dort and be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
that's why I hesitated with Herb up to this point, because it's like where I just don't know where the upside is there. Maybe you don't care about the upside with him because he's just good now. But I just wonder what we think about him in 3 years whenever the upside of some of these other players is started to be realized.
Exactly. That's my fear with Herb. And like speaking of Charlotte, and then we'll move on. Like they could really ask Dort for Hayward and paying money to get a defender. I mean, not this year because it doesn't make sense financially, but OKC could potentially sign him now, extend him now to a good contract and do a sign and trade. Like immediately.
Yeah.
Like, and Dort can do stuff for them. I mean, I don't want to trade away Dort. This is not the point. The point is you can fix your defense with like 2-3 good players and a system.
Yeah.
And a coach that can. I mean, Miles Bridges was a great defender in college. Good defender, not great, maybe.
He's got the tools, certainly.
He's got the tools. You need to.
They're going to get a new coach, whoever that is. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do at that spot, but
yeah,
it should be quite interesting. San Antonio, they took Josh Primo at 12. Seemed like a reach at the time. Now it feels like that's a good pick. That was a good idea to pick Josh Primo there. I think I'm going to stick with that. Youngest guy in the league. Has a ton of potential as a shooter. He's got pretty good size as a guard. He's Canadian. It's nice. I'll stay with Josh Primo at 12 for San Antonio. It's kind of a boring pick, but
No, it's perfect. It leaves me with Indiana, which I don't want to draft for.
I know. What do you do with Indy? Because they took Duarte, who
I don't want to take him. I don't want to take him.
he
I
wasn't
don't want.
he wasn't that good for them. He had some good stretches, but
Yeah.
I would not take him, especially now that you know that they're like they stink.
Yeah.
You know, you take Duarte if you think that you just need a piece to plug in.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't need a piece to plug in. You need an upside. Like where's the upside for this Pacers crew?
Yeah, the issue to me is guys that I have still on my board. David Mitchell,
Yeah.
same deal. A bit better, but same deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the two pull-up maestros, like Trey Mann and Bones Hyland.
Yeah, I know. What do you do with those two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another guy that I think fits here a bit is Ayo, but it's too high. I'm not sure I would.
Good. Ayo's good.
Ayo's good. But Ayo's upside is, I think, very close to Bones's and Trey Mann's. I mean, I think that shooting is something that Indy would love to have. But if I know that they have Tyrese Halliburton, that I feel extremely, extremely bad about their defense if I pick Trey Mann and Bones Hyland. It's tricky. I don't know. I don't know what to do. David Mitchell sounds like a good player to slide in alongside Tyrese Halliburton. It worked in Sacramento, so maybe it can work in Indy. I don't know. I don't like the pick, but I think that Indy needs a leader defensively, and they have three guards. Brogdon, Halliburton, and David Mitchell can probably play together.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's a sad pick.
It is a sad pick. It does feel very sad.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense to draft. I mean, if I want to go full upside, then I go either Bones on Trey Mann.
Yeah.
But it will be a dumpster fire to play like Brogdon.
Yeah.
It's not that Damian saves you. Can I have this back? I'll just pick Bones Hyland. I just don't like David Mitchell.
Okay.
Enough.
Yeah, I don't really either. I don't like his. I don't know what his upside is because he's a little older. I think Bones is fun for them. I don't know what Bones' upside is.
Me neither.
But
Trey showed me more in terms of absolute upside. Bones is just a guy that really plays consistently good basketball.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a shooter. So I think you have to reward that a little bit.
Yeah.
He was good from the beginning. Or close to the beginning, Bones was.
And had a big time playoff game already.
Yeah.
Helped Denver win that game.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that at all. To wrap up the lottery here, 14, we got the Warriors. They took Moses Moody. This is where I'm going to take Herb, because if I'm trying to win the NBA title, there's not anybody left that I'm just like, oh my gosh, the upside is too enamoring to stay away from them. Whereas with Herb, yeah, he is 22 at the time of the draft. I think he is 23 now. But he's like, he plays big minutes for you. And imagine like Herb and Draymond Green on the same court.
Yeah.
Surrounded with like real shooting, where like he plays now, he helps you now, and then you also get to have Kuminga, who's can help you later. I think that they kind of hope that Moses Moody helps you now, but you know, Moody's 19 still. He's very, very young.
Yeah.
But Herb like steps in. He's in your 8-man, 9-man rotation, and he's a menace. Whereas like people, and we can talk about the Thunder picks and where we think they should go or could have gone. But Trey, you know, you could make the argument for Trey here. I just don't think he plays for the Warriors.
No.
They've got too many guys at that spot and not enough development time for him. And then you think about JRE. Like JRE is a nice fit there. You don't take him over Herb.
No.
That's what I would do, and I think that makes the Warriors instantly even more awesome, because if you even don't even watch the games, just watch Twitter, and you can see just the entire Twitter sphere erupt with love for Herb Jones and what he's able to do.
Yeah.
That to me makes a lot of sense at that slot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with Moses Moody not being picked in the lottery. I think that the lack of opportunity is something that killed him and favored guys like Bones. I don't think that. I think that if you switch the two and you put Moses Moody with one of the greatest passer in the history of the league at center, maybe he plays 10, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not ashamed of James Bouknight not being in the lottery, nor Chris Duarte. I didn't like those, nor David Mitchell. I mean, to me, the upside play in the lottery should be there. I mean, I know that guys like Davian in the right spot can turn a team from... look, Beverly. I don't particularly like him, but he is the soul of Minnesota. And that made a difference. I don't know if Davion is ready to do that.
Maybe that's who you take for Washington at 15.
Yeah, probably.
Who feels like a soulless team to a degree. And if you're trying to build a team around Bradley Beal still, which all indications show that that's what they're trying to do, you take Davion Mitchell there.
Yeah, and then OKC, I think, goes Moses Moody there. Probably Memphis goes Corey Kispert, because Memphis Pelicans via Memphis, they pick the best shooter they can.
Pelicans, Kispert would be awesome for them. And then OKC, Trey Mann again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this would be a great draft for OKC, I think. And but if you look from 19 to probably 20 to 26, boy, those picks are rough. I mean, Kai Jones, Jalen Johnson, Keon Johnson, Isaiah Jackson, Usman Garuba, Josh Christopher.
Yeah,
that's not great.
It's rough. That is the official rough patch of the draft as of today. Now, there's chances for that to change, because all of those guys at the time of the draft were 19 when they were drafted.
Yeah.
So that could change. Jalen Johnson could be a part of the Hawks rotation next season. Not impossible.
When Gallo leaves, yes.
Yeah, when Gallo's gone. Keon, never been a real big.
No.
Isaiah Jackson showed some flashes this year for the Pacers. Still not a big believer. Usman Garuba kind of looked terrible when I watched for the Rockets. He was overweight. He's not ready to play NBA basketball. Maybe that changes next season after an off season.
It's an awful sign when all you do is on athleticism and you show yourself overweight. That is one sign that is, I think it's a red flag. Real red flag to me is, I would not be surprised if next year is not in the league anymore.
Yeah. So what about the other Thunder guys? Do you think that Jeremiah did anything to raise his stock into the first round?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I think he goes in that range. I think that the Pacers would love to have him instead of Isaiah Jackson. Maybe not, but that is a range where I can see guys saying, "Hey, that guy's a pro." Same range for Ayo Dosunmu.
Nuggets for JRE would be very interesting.
Bones is not there.
Yeah, Bones is gone. That's a really interesting slot for him. Even the Sixers for him would be kind of interesting. I don't know if he plays for them this year, because I think they've got depth at that slot, but those are interesting pieces. And even the Nets, the Nets need playable guys, where Cam Thomas is not a playoff playable
No.
player. I'm seeing the word play
No.
so many times. But I think Jeremiah could be where they kind of
Ayo. I mean, Ayo would be.
Ayo
I
would
don't
be
know
great.
why.
Be great for them. Yeah.
I mean, Ayo to me was a very interesting guy. And again, to me, late first is where should have gone. And I mean, I'm sure that something went wrong in the process for him somewhere because he looked the part on film, and maybe the interview process was not great. I don't know. Good pick for Chicago. Great pick for Chicago. I mean,
Great. At 38, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you look at other players that in the second round that kind of popped a little bit, like BJ Boston at 51. Like, he's probably worthy of a swing in the 30s instead. Like, he showed some flashes and could use like a good incubator for him. Like, if he went to the Thunder, if the Thunder didn't trade both of their picks for Jeremiah, like you could see that for them. Like, that to me, that makes some sense. Like Delano Banton for the Raptors, I think is an interesting player too. Sharif Cooper.
Not sure what he does away from Toronto, but yeah.
He's very much a Raptor. He's 100% a Raptor. And then Aaron Wiggins at 55. I don't think that he did enough to say that he's a first rounder, but to be in the 40s,
maybe even in the late 30s, like Detroit traded to Charlotte JT Tour. He could play for Charlotte, or
it'd be nice for Charlotte, or even the
same
Knicks.
spot as the Herb Jones. I mean,
sure, yeah, Herb is long gone.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think at 55 it was great. I mean, you look around that slot, and like there's no other, like Charles Bassey for the Sixers is kind of interesting. And then I'm like Jericho Sims did some stuff for the Knicks. Cool. Yorgos was on the Thunder already, who was the 60th pick in the draft. Cool. But yeah, the end of this draft is really, there's not a lot going on. I'll never believe that Luka Garza will be a true rotation player in the NBA until I see it. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, like there weren't any like the biggest, like how did you let this happen player is Herb Jones, out of Alabama. Like he's the one where you just look at the second round. It's like, how did they let this happen? And then there's other guys that are good. Like Ayo's good, should have been a first rounder. Jeremiah, you can make the case that he should have been a first rounder. Then everybody else, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe they jump here or there, but nobody else really showed. Like Miles McBride was pretty good for the Knicks. But
I mean,
Knicks, who knows?
But it's not that anyone had. Well, not maybe someone had, but the majority didn't have first round grades on Herb Jones, and he went like 35th. So it's like in Jeremy Grant's range.
Yeah,
it happens. It happens quite a lot with guys.
It happens every year. There's always somebody, and we'll talk about this as we go through these in the coming weeks. That there's always somebody that falls that shouldn't have. And a lot of times,
because he has 2 picks there.
Yeah, it's oftentimes intangible qualities. It's based on intangible qualities, and sometimes, like we talk about boxes that these guys check. Like Herb Jones, 23 years old. He's over 22 and a half at the time of the draft. It's like, yeah, that's an old player, and a lot of times you don't want to take those guys very high, which there weren't very many guys over 22 taken in the first round. It's Corey Kispert, it's Chris Duarte, who's very old, and it's Davion Mitchell. Everybody else was under 22. That's 3 guys taken in the first round. So it takes something quite special to be older than 22 to be taken in the first round. And then you get to the second round, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, there's 8 guys taken in the second round that are older than 22.
Yeah, and now this may be again recency bias, but those 3 guys that went in the first round, I mean, you at least hope that the player that is older is a plug and play.
Yeah, Kispert, I think Kispert was good for the
yes.
For the week that
Yes.
I watched the Wizards, and I was a Wizards fan for Slam and Jam. Like, Kispert's good. He's a good player.
Good.
And if you're on the Warriors instead of the Wizards, I think that people know that he's more
Good.
than a playable player. Yeah.
A fine pick.
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay. The other 2, not a fine pick.
Yeah.
I wonder if we go back and after a year we redraft and say, yes, but also no. Like,
no, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot about this class over the next 3 years because rookie seasons don't tell you everything. You just don't. You don't know. You need 3, 4, 5 years to really figure it out, and that's why, like, we're going to go back and redraft a bunch of these other ones, and you can see with like just clear eyes, like, what is this draft class, and where did this go, and where did teams go wrong, and you get to see all of it. Where with this class, it's still fuzzy. We get to see that these guys have talent, but somebody that looks awesome this year is not going to be awesome in 3 years.
That is for sure.
Somebody that looks horrible this year is going to be awesome in 3 years.
That is why you don't deviate too much. I mean, Jalen sucks.
Happens. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's why you just don't. Because I mean, was Orlando the best place for him? I mean, they're playing a lot of Cole Anthony with him, and you all know
we loved him. No, we didn't.
It's just not, to me, the best place for him.
But again, it's peculiar that old players did not outshine younger ones in year 1. This is a good class, a very good class. This was a very good class, and again, for going back to the Thunder mold, you can question how many times you want the 2-for-1 that they decided to do for Alper and Sengun. We will know in due time, not now. Judging that trade now is silly or short-sighted, because you just look what you lost and not what you are gaining.
If you could redo that and you had to pick somebody at 16, who would you take?
With the same players available there?
Yes, same players available. Kispert
I take Trey Murphy.
Yeah, give me the.
I think that I said that. Many times.
I agree. I mean, you saw I took Trey really high in this draft. I just think he's a player that will get better and was just a lights out shooter. He makes the Thunder team like quite a bit better, I think. Like, that's my only trepidation is that I don't know how much upside there is to squeeze there with Trey Murphy, but he's a guy that's going to come in. You're going to find 5 threes for him a game, and he's going to shoot 4.
Yeah.
Going to make you awesome right away.
But I would question, like, to me, no matter who you, like, if I am in the same position today and I'm offered 2 picks with the risk of losing Trey Murphy, I don't think that Trey Murphy is worth 2 picks. Nor is Trey Mann, nor is Bones Island, nor is anyone drafted later. 2 picks is a huge amount of draft capital. I know that those are protected. I know that. But to me, the protection is, I mean, the likelihood of those becoming at least a first or a first and a half, I would say 2 firsts, is quite high. And
yeah, you're going to pick in the same range. I mean, you get basically 2 swings in the same range, or you get to offer those 2 picks as trade capital for a player that fits your team better, that you have more control over, or more maybe probably not more control, but like a definitive, like this is what they do and this is how they fit our team, and we're ready to plug somebody in now. It's more ammunition for those times where, do you want one swing or do you want ammunition to go get a role player that's really good? Because if you're paying 2 first-round picks for somebody, I don't care the quality of the pick. If you're paying 2 first-round picks for somebody, you're getting a good player.
A borderline all-star at least.
Yeah.
And it's a tall task for Trey Murphy and Alperen Sengun to become that.
Yeah. And we've talked about Sengun a ton. Like he's going to be difficult to build around. And to me, I just don't want to put that kind of limitation on my team from the outset with, especially with this upcoming class, and we don't even know where they're going to land. If they land in like the top 4,
7,
or top 3 in this class,
no, Andrew, 7,
2022 class when they land 7th, because they will land 7th. We just don't know. And I'd rather not have limitations on my roster where it's like, okay, we like Sengun a lot. What pieces can help us, build around? I don't know. I wouldn't want it. He could have the upside. Like he could prove Sam wrong, that the 2 picks were not only correct, but they should have just taken him. There's a possibility of that. And
I'm sure that everyone will forget, unless it's something special. Like Ollie John probably in due time will say, do you remember how this pick came through? Blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I think that, again, so I think that a lot of trades goes into the just, it was like that. Because sometimes you get equal value. There are a lot of fuss for Domas for Tyrese Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a neutral trade that everyone will forget in due time.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Paul George trade, which seems a heist for OKC with Indiana. I mean, it was probably good for OKC, better for OKC, but still, Indy got something. So it's interesting to see how it will go.
Yeah,
with these 2 picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for listening to our show. Be sure to, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure that if you're not listening to this on YouTube, you can find us on YouTube. You can watch the show. You can join us live. You can comment live. That would be wonderful if you would hit subscribe for that as well. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.